Hey guys, it's Steven. I've spent over 30 years in the market. I've been a market maker. I've worked in regulation. I was even on the committee that wrote the original traders exam for FINRA. And I've coached tons of traders. I've watched really smart people blow up large accounts. And I've seen average people make a ton of money in the market. What I found is the difference isn't IQ. It's not some sort of algorithm, but the difference is negotiation. What do I mean by that? You guys are probably familiar with 75 Hard, Andy Frisella's workout program. If you've ever tried it or even just read about it, it's pretty brutal, right? 2 workouts a day, a gallon of water a day. One of the workouts has to be outside. You have to read every day. And most people fail at 75 Hard. But they're not failing because they can't do the workouts or they can't drink the gallon of water. As Andy Frisella himself says, they're failing because on day 14, it's raining outside. On day 30 of the 75, it's their birthday. So they take the day off. They're negotiating. Andy Frisella calls it something else that I won't repeat on this video. But basically what they're doing is negotiating with the program. In my coaching, I've seen that trading is exactly the same way as 75 Hard. And right now, you are probably one of these 3 lines, but only one of them is a profitable long-term trader, because to win at trading, you need a simple, clear path. In 75 Hard, it's simple. The path is the checklist. Did you drink your gallon of water? Yes or no? Did you do your 2 45-minute workouts? Yes or no? In trading, the path is the setup. Did the setup appear? Yes or no? Did you execute against the setup by the rules of the setup? Again, yes or no? It sounds simple. But if you sit a human being in front of a chart, simplicity goes out the window because of the baggage that everybody brings to trading. Let's look at the 3 ways this plays out in trading. On the top line, you have the executor, right? This is a person that's disciplined, boring, robotic, right? They're following the setup step by step, over and over, controlling emotions as they go. This trader has a simple setup. When it appears, he or she is executing against it. And when it doesn't, this trader's not trading. He's waiting for the setup to tell him when to get into or out of the stock or market. This is where you want to get to as a trader, but very few people actually get to this point. In the middle is the tinkerer. In the fitness world and Andy Frisella's world, this is a person who thinks 75 Hard is too simple. So this person is going to not only do 75 Hard, but try to run a marathon, do a keto diet, work on body weight calisthenics, all at the same time. In the trading world, this is a person that finds a simple setup and piles 3 or 4 or 5 different indicators on top of the setup that's already working. In the end, this trader ends up in complexity, confused, and usually paralyzed by multiple indicators telling them to do different things. And then there's the third trader, the negotiator. And again, this is the one that Andy Frisella has a much more colorful name for than the negotiator. But this trader doesn't add complexity. He subtracts discipline from the equation. He's going to end up doing 75 soft, not 75 hard. So this trader knows the rules and they know the setup, but today they decide they know what the market's going to do. So they get long ahead of time with no setup telling them to do so. They take a big loss, and when they should be journaling, they don't. And then basically they end up telling themselves, I know what I did wrong, so I don't have to journal it and capture what I did wrong because I already know. And they end up skipping journaling a trade that would have taught them something valuable moving forward. Basically, the negotiator thinks they're following the plan, but they're making tiny exceptions all along the way. And what ends up happening is the market will exploit all of those exceptions this trader is making because it doesn't care about the excuses of why you didn't journal, of why you didn't wait for a candle to close. The market just could care less about your feelings and when you don't follow the rules. Again, you either take the setup as it's defined, yes or no, and you're either doing the equivalent of 75 hard or you're not. So how do you fix being the negotiator or the tinkerer? How do you stop negotiating? Just like with 75 hard, you need a tool that removes the option to argue. You need a binary signal at each step of the way. You want to not be the tinkerer and you want to not be the negotiator. You want to become the executor. For me, that's what the power bar setup brings to the table. And I'm going to flip to a chart now and run through what that setup looks like. The power bar setup is simple. It has very clear rules for entry. Just like 75 hard, there's either a signal to take an action or there's not. For the power bar, you need a power bar that's larger than the bars around it. It begins at or near the 20, and it clears support or resistance to the left. Just like 75 hard, the rules, again, are very straightforward. I'm going to zoom in on this application of the power bar just so you can see it better. This is the power bar, and it's indicated by my indicator I designed to pick up the power bar. That indicator is for sale, and it's in the comments below. But this is the power bar. It begins at or near the 20, which is this red line. I use the 20 SMA, simple moving average. It clears this support to the left. Again, this is the power bar. The stop is above the power bar. The entry is at the end of the power bar where the power bar closes or very close to where the power bar closes here. And this is the NQs on the 2 minute. You end up with a nice profit. You get the same thing here. Power bar near the 20, clearing support, nice profit. It doesn't work every time, just like anything in trading doesn't work every time, but that's where the discipline comes in. If you have a setup, whether it's this power bar setup or some other setup that has a high probability of working, your job as a trader is to be the executor of the strategy. Can you tinker with the strategy? Sure. Can you negotiate with the strategy? Sure. And you end up in the same place that people that try to do 75 hard, right? They try to do it, but they don't actually do it. You end up in the same place. Again, Andy Frisella, the creator of 75 hard, has a podcast and a lot of videos on what happens when you say you're going to do 75 hard and you end up not doing it. And Andy has a great quote. The reason you are where you are is because you've compromised every single time it got hard. You've negotiated the price of success down to a price that you're willing to pay. And that's a price that the market is often not willing to give you. You're applying this to trading. And again, you can look up Andy Frisella and see what he calls the negotiator. Again, I'm not going to use the language that he does to describe the person that's the negotiator and not taking the setup and executing against it in trading versus going through the 75 hard program, but you get the same result. So I hope talking about sort of the psychological factors involved in failing at 75 hard and how that same mindset results in failure as a trader helps in your trading. Again, the indicator that I built to execute the power bar strategy is linked to below if you want my free cheat sheet on how to execute the power bar strategy. You can comment power in the comments below, and I'll give you that for free. It goes in more detail on how to execute a power bar strategy, what that setup looks like. So if this video helped you, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll do more videos like this. Thanks.